Pride and Prejudice is set primarily in the county of Hertfordshire, about 50 miles outside of London. The story centers on the Bennet family, particularly Elizabeth. The novel opens at Longbourn, the Bennet family's estate. The news that a wealthy young gentleman named Charles Bingley has rented the manor of Netherfield Park causes a great stir in the nearby village of Longbourn, especially in the Bennet household. The Bennets have five unmarried daughters, from eldest to youngest: Jenny, Elizabeth, Mary, Kitty, and Lydia. And Mrs. Bennet is desperate to see them all married. The Bennets attend a ball at which Mr. Bingley is present. He is taken with Jenny and spends much of the evening dancing with her. His close friend Mr. Darcy is less pleased with the evening and naughtily refuses to dance with Elizabeth, which makes everyone view him as arrogant and obnoxious. At social function over subsequent weeks, Mr. Darcy finds himself increasingly attracted to Elizabeth's charm and intelligence. Jane's friendship with Mr. Bingley also continues to burgeon, and she pays a visit to the Bingley's mansion. On her journey to the house, she is caught in a downpour and catches ill, forcing her to stay at Netherfield for several days. In order to tend to Jenny, Elizabeth hikes through muddy fields and arrives with a spattered dress, much to the disdain of the snobby Miss Bingley, Charles' sister. Miss Bingley's spite only increases when she notices that Darcy, whom she is pursuing, pays quite a bit of attention to Elizabeth. When Elizabeth and Jenny return home, they find Mr. Collins visiting their household. Mr. Collins is a young clergyman who stands to inherit Mr. Bennet's property, which has been entitled, meaning that it can only be passed down to male heirs. He is a pompous fool, though he is quite enthralled by the Bennet girls. Shortly after his arrival, he makes a proposal of marriage to Elizabeth. Meanwhile, the Bennet girls have become friendly with militia officers stationed in a nearby town. A handsome young soldier Wickham, who is friendly towards Elizabeth and tells her how Darcy cruelly cheated him out of an inheritance. At the beginning of winter, the Bingleys and Darcy leave Netherfield and return to London, much to Jenny's dismay. A further shock arrives that Mr. Collins has become engaged to the Charlotte Lucas, Elizabeth's best friend, and the poor daughter of a local Kenite. Charlotte explained to Elizabeth that she is getting older and needs the match for financial reasons. Charlotte and Mr. Collins get married, and Elizabeth promises to visit them at their new home. As winter progresses, Jenny visits the city to see friends, hoping also that she might see Mr. Bingley. However, Miss Bingley visits her and behaves rudely, while Mr. Bingley fails to visit her at all. The marriage prospect for the Bennet girls appear bleak. That spring, Elizabeth visits Charlotte the Bow, who now lives near the home of Mr. Collins' patron. She is also Darcy's aunt. Darcy calls on Lady Catherine and encounters Elizabeth, whose presence leads him to make a number of visits to the Collins home. One day he makes a shocking proposal of marriage, which Elizabeth quickly refuses. She tells Darcy that she considered him arrogant and unpleasant, then scolded him for steering Bingley away from Jenny and disinheriting Wickham. Shortly, Darcy leaves her but delivers a letter to her. In this letter, he admits that he argued Bingley to distance himself from Jenny, but claims he did so only because he thought their romance was not serious. As for Wickham, he informs Elizabeth that the young officer is a liar and that the real cause of their disagreement was Wickham's attempt to elope with his young sister Georgiana Darcy. This letter causes Elizabeth to reevaluate her feelings about Darcy. She returns home and acts coldly towards Wickham. The militia is leaving town, which makes the younger, rather man-crazy Bennet girls distraught. Lydia manages to obtain permissions from her father to spend the summer with an old colonial in Brington, where Wickham's regiment will be stationed with the arrival of Jenny. Elizabeth goes on another journey, this time with the Gardiners, who are relatives of the Bennets. The trip takes her to the north and eventually to the neighborhood of Pemberley. Darcy's estate. She visits Pemberley after making sure that Darcy is away and delights in the building and grounds while hearing from Darcy's servants that he is a wonderful, generous master. Suddenly, Suddenly Darcy arrives and, making no mention of his proposal, he entertains the gardener and invites Elizabeth to meet his sister. Shortly thereafter, a letter arrives from house telling Elizabeth that Lydia has eloped with Wickham and that the couple is now where to be found, which suggests that they may be living together out of wedlock. Fearful of the disgrace such a station would bring on her entire family, Elizabeth hastened home. Mr. Gardiner and Mrs. Bennet go off to search for Lydia, but Mr. Bennet eventually returns home empty-handed. Just when all hope seems lost, a letter comes from Mr. Gardiner saying that the couple has been found and that Wickham has agreed to marry Lydia in exchange for an annual income. The Bennets are convinced that Mr. Gardiner has paid off Wickham. Elizabeth learns that the source of the money and fa- of her family's salvation was none other than Darcy. Now married, Wickham and Lydia returns to Longbourn briefly, where Mr. Bennet treats them coldly. Then they depart for Wickham's new assignment in the north of England. Shortly thereafter, Bingley returns to Netherfield and resumes his courtship of Jenny to the delight of everyone but Bingley's naughty sister. While the family celebrates, Lady Catherine de Bourgh pays a visit to Longbourn. She corners Elizabeth and says that she has heard that Darcy, her nephew, is planning to marry her since she considers a Bennet an unsuitable match for a Darcy. Lady Catherine demands that Elizabeth promise to refuse him. Elizabeth spiritedly refuses, saying she is not engaged to Darcy, but she will not promise anything against her own happiness. A little later, Elizabeth and Darcy go out working together, and he tells her that his feelings have not altered since the spring. She tenderly accepts his proposal, and both Jenny and Elizabeth are married.